Let's go. So let's talk about Gunner Stockton. Could he legitimately actually win the Heisman Trophy? I'm going to give you a pretty wild stat at the end of this that could explain why Gunner might not make it to New York City. But we start off here with a very nice zone read pull. Ridiculous stuff right here by Stockton to take this up the left sideline and not take a hit. So this game featured the two best teams running a certain style of play, which is let's fake a quick screen and have the guy who's acting like he's blocking be the guy we're actually throwing the football to. Where this gets really interesting, though, is Georgia elects the vertical clear out to be the running back. This is Cash Jones. So, when you're an empty and you bring the running back all the way out here and then you get into motion, you're thinking that the running back is going to be a lead blocker. It really helped sell this fake. And so the vertical clears out. You want London Humphreys to run where this corner was vacated. Now, the funny thing is, there's a better angle of this. Stockton sees the corner, but he throws it behind Humphreys away from the corner and stops him there. Boom. And he's still able to get it there. Really good throw. Really good ball location. And you see why Stockton only has 2 INTs on the season. This has to be, to me, a top 5 Gunner Stockton throw, especially when you take out all the clutch throws he's had this season. This is really good protection by Georgia. It wouldn't have mattered. He gets his football out quickly. Opposite hash. Deep throw right here to Dylan Bell. Boom. So this next play is something that is really being done at a high level in the NFL. You cram everyone in. Pre-snap motion here from Dylan Bell. So you always have to respect the reverse. And the good thing about just cramming everybody in 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, is that you're really thinking that this is going to be a run, all right, especially on 2nd and 9. What happens, though, is when you cram everybody in, you have to bring in more big bodies. You have to cram your own DBs in, and it opens up more space out here, okay? So you could see that this was a late communication right here. 3 is telling, hey, this safety, you are now responsible for this motion right here. So now this safety is flowing this way, and Noah Thomas is going this way. Okay, so play action fake, and that just opens up all this space for Thomas to run through. I know it's cut off here, but it's a lot easier for Thomas to work with all that space. All Gunner Stockton has to do is wait for Thomas to get into this space, and it is a touchdown. Okay, ridiculous stuff. Dear Lord, this might be, this right here, the best run-blocked rep of the season from the Georgia Bulldogs, okay? LSU has been struggling with this with their freak 6'7" tight end. Now, to me, Trey Green is a far better player than Elias Williams. You guys corrected me on that last week. Thank you so much. I might still be butchering it. But still, the thing about Williams is that he's been a better blocker than Trey Green. Now, once again, Green, I think, is a far superior receiver. But you block down. It's so hard for these 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" tight end types to have leverage in the blocking game. So he blocks down and then goes to the second level to find this backer. Good kick out right here by Oscar Delp. We know he can block fine. 63, the guard is pulling around right here. Boom. Okay. And then obviously 71 deserves a lot of credit here at right guard, sealing this A-gap player to the inside. Look at him turn his butt to the hole. You can't really do it that much better. We want him penetrating upfield, taking himself out of the play, and now you just need Chauncey Bowens to just run through that wide open gap. Can he make a safety miss? He can't. Texas's DBs are really good, but that's just so well blocked right there. And then obviously if you can get the run game going, you can read these safeties. You can see that this DB is playing off. And guess what? It's easy pitch and catch football right there. Right there. Look at that. Boom. Okay. And then once again, Noah Thomas starting to get better and better and better. Okay. You want to see the nuances of route running. I don't ask too much from ESPN highlight clips or game footage or whatever. Just give me the normal broadcast angle and this one, okay? Obviously, I prefer an all-22 angle where you're able to see everything. But the brilliance of the Zachariah Branch play isn't necessarily the run. It truly is ridiculous. You're about to see it, okay? But it's a route, all right? So you see him circled right here, and look at this. So look at his head. Look at his head. He is selling that he might actually be going this way, and that forces his safety to stay flat-footed and respect it. All right, that's not cheating your route. Obviously, Justin Jefferson is probably the best at this in the NFL. So he gets his safety back on his heels, and now he's going with the over. Okay, and here's another thing. If he had just stayed on the path of this over instead of stair stepping and really selling that you're going this way, this safety would have crashed down sooner on this over. Okay, so because he sold this way, you could see that Taff is like, okay, he might actually be going out, and now he's running over here. Okay, so Stockton resets, and now it's wide open. All right, and Taft's flat-footed. Okay, so now you get this football here, and this is ridiculous. Okay, let's go to the other angle. So he catches this football. The only thing I would say is that if this was 3rd and 10, we want to be careful giving this much ground because we don't want to get tackled backwards short of the line to gain. But on 1st and 10, I don't mind taking the risk of running this far backwards and trying to turn this into something truly, truly, truly big. And Zachariah Branch, because he is an absolute freak, is able to do that very thing. Look at the get up on that young man. You go, Zachariah. This is just obscene football right here from Gunner Stockton. I've said it plenty of times. I don't I don't know many red zone quarterbacks I've seen as a first year starter better than this guy. Like every aspect of red zone quarterbacking, he is truly elite. These short precision passes are so good. The route is really good. Okay, a little pivot action. Boom. Look at where that ball is placed. Look at that. Let's go to the end of this first half, and you're showing once again this guard pulling around, and it's actually just a seam ball here to Oscar Delp. Ridiculous stuff. Good protection across the way. And guess what? Gunner Stockton's able to get this football up and down. Boom. Really good throw, really good catch. Alrighty, so once again, Texas decides to rush 3, drop 8, fake the screen to Branch, and see if you can get this to Delp on the go. So obviously you can never throw this to Branch. Can't throw this to Delp either. There's someone capping that route. So he tries to work the backside dig, and it gets picked off, right? You know, throwing over the middle of the field, you had that interception versus Kentucky, and this is just not a good throw. Gets picked off, and, it's just a bad throw. You got to live with the bad ones at times with Gunner Stockton. And there you go. Good job making the quick tackle right here by Noah Thomas. Alrighty, ridiculous play by Stockton, okay? After the INT, Texas cuts its lead down to 14-10. As a quarterback, we really don't want to go airborne to make a throw all too often. But in this case, it's fine, right? Because this is a short throw. This is the option you're always going to throw to in the spot. A little split zone action from Oscar Delp. Georgia runs this a good bit of the time. And you also know that since you're, jumping up in the air, you're just giving yourself just a little bit more room to make this throw. So to me, I'm fine with throwing. It's just when you go airborne, you're going to have bigger hits on the wrong end of it. Boom. Okay. Still good throw. Good catch. And look at Oscar Delp go. Look at that. And then, of course, the play that everybody runs and nobody can stop. Play action. Little RB fast action. Just run them into the flats. No one can stop it. Until it gets stopped, it's just so difficult to stop in short yardage for a lot of different reasons on 4th and 1. So let's fast forward to the touchdown that really put this game away. Fake pitch, once again, guard pulling around. Tennessee does a lot of this. The little run action. Man, these guards Georgia had themselves, to me, a good game. So, there's just so many of these types of plays that Georgia runs where, it's a fake pitch and you're trying to get Delp on the go, right? He's faking like he's blocking and then he's going. Rarely is the actual vertical being the thing that's thrown. Okay, so Taft, the safety, is running down here on Delp, and that leaves this vertical open for Humphrey. And he's like, hey, I'm actually open this time. And he is open. And because it's such a quick hitter, you really don't need your protection to be that great. So, we'll go ahead and use a little Herbie clicker where he's going back and forth. Colin Simmons made some plays in this game. He didn't just dominate. And, God, it's just so hard to stop this Georgia offense. Easy pitch and catch, and Humphrey's able to catch this and score. Kirby Smart is just absolutely positively ridiculous. Okay? He sees that Texas is backing up, and they're at the 50 going backwards. And this is just so perfectly executed. Boom. Cash Jones is able to make the recovery. Just an amazing freaking play. And he knows he can't advance it. So he just falls straight down. Ridiculous. Alrighty, so we then get to here. And, man, this is just such good play calling. All right. Remember we talked about earlier, cramming everyone in tight. Once you cram everyone in tight, it opens up space here. Now, the hard thing is actually getting out into that space and, coming up with creative ways to, attack those spaces. So you're running a GT action here to the right, and you can see how hard these backers are fighting over here to get to their left, but you're actually slipping a wide receiver into the flat. Now, the funny thing is, you can see that this end looks like he's right there with this wide receiver, but it doesn't matter because the receiver has a full head of steam, and Gunner Stockton, even with Colin Simmons in his face, is able to get this football off to Dylan Bell. And because Georgia's tight ends block well, you're able to pick up nice gains after the catch. Okay? So one thing Texas decided to do later in this game was they're like, hey, we're tired of all these play action boots. We're just going to have someone attack Gunner Stockton every single time, just in case he does pull it. Well, when you actually do hand it off and you have your ends screaming up, just attacking Gunner Stockton, it opens up big spaces where, they're deoccupied and you just run the football underneath them. Okay? And that's exactly what happens here. Good stuff. Well, let's talk about old Gunner Stockton. We have a bonus members-only breakdown. It's a good way for you to support our film studies. And, well, man, can Gunner Stockton actually find a way to win this Heisman Trophy? One thing working against him is that he doesn't have gaudy passing numbers. Only one 300-yard game, and that was that 80-plus play overtimer versus Inc. Georgia's probably the team in the SEC you expect to win the Natty. God, this play is just so nasty based on the personnel. 2 running backs in, so you have a fullback and a running back, and you have 3 tight ends. Okay, so this is the rare 23 personnel. Okay, it's just nasty work, and you're throwing out of it. And Texas was just so badly out-schemed. Look, you could throw this if you wanted to. You could also throw this if you wanted to, but Gunner does the right thing to actually run because those are difficult throws, but they're doable, right? But, man, dude, Georgia's just good, and Kirby is just an absolute freak of nature when it comes to coaching. Wow. It is Power Hour SEC. Boom.